This is Roger Green, host of the Surfing the MASH Tsunami podcast. This week, we're offering 4 conversations from episode 19, our interviews with Mike Betel, Louise Campbell, and Sven Franke about their impressions of the EASL Congress meeting. Plus, instead of a vault, a special excerpt we cut from Louise's interview so that we could get the overall episode down to an hour and 10 minutes. It's got its own content, its own topic, and it's pretty powerful in its own right. This conversation with Mike Betel took place the first afternoon of the EASL Congress. Mike discusses the overall mood of the meeting, high enthusiasm. The patient advocacy session he co-hosted with Shira Zelber-Sagi, a couple of industry sessions he attended but could not describe in any detail due to session rules, the opening session of EASL Congress, and the incredible networking opportunities a meeting like this offers. It's a brief but lively conversation, so let's just dive into it. As you've heard already, and will hear repeatedly over the next month, this was an extraordinary meeting. These conversations should give you a flavor of the broader discussions we will offer in the next several episodes, starting with drug development on June 20th. Our first conversation from Milano, not surprisingly, is with Mike Betel, who spends more time on audio and video than just about anybody I know and is really good at it. So, hey, Mike, how are you today?
Mike Betel.
Hey, tutto bene. Buongiorno. How's that to start the day?
Molto bene, amico. Come stai?
Molto bene.
We're all proving that we don't speak Italian. I speak a tiny bit of Italian. Mike's totally bluffing, although I believe is it Toronto that has more Italian speakers than any city in the world outside of Italy?
Yeah, well, there is a huge Italian community. Actually, funny, really quick story. Back in, I would say 1994 or something like that, I got invited to go to Bologna by Dr. Stefano Berlanti to talk about the internet. I ran a website called HepNet, and it was the world's first hepatitis website. Anyway, so I memorized my whole intro in Italian, and I did it so well, and I practiced it. I had all of it down, that after I finished, I switched to English, of course, and they all looked at me like they had no idea what I was saying. So it was perfect. It was perfect, but it kind of backfired at the end of the day. But
at any rate, tell our audience a little bit about the meeting in general and what it feels like, and then a little bit about what you did today and what you learned that they'd want to know.
For me, I kind of thrive in this environment. And so, although at 2 of the talks, I couldn't sit in the front row because there was reserve signs on it. So anyway, with respect to the organizers, they should save me a seat. But anyway, so I love doing this and I love sharing information back. So it's been really exciting. And, you can feel the excitement in the air. I think people they were lined up. I came early, as usual. And so I was here probably about 20 minutes before the doors even opened, and there was already people outside waiting to get in. So got my registration badges. So the first presentation that I went to at 8:30 was with Shira, and we were co-chairing, and that was a really great way to start. And you know what? The room was completely full.
Wow. So how big was the room, and what were you talking about?
I'm actually talking to you right now from the exact same rooms. There's probably 150 chairs in here. I'll give you the official description so that I don't mess it up. But the session was providing a specialized forum for patients and patient advocates, physicians, and allied health professionals to come together, so we're all together in the room, to discuss the barriers and potential solutions for addressing unmet needs in clinical settings. Physicians and patient advocates alike will speak about patient experiences, health systems, integrated care, community services, and collaborative strategies to tackling unmet needs. We led the discussion, and there was 6 speakers altogether, and then we had a Q&A after. We didn't even have to use our pre-planned questions because there was so much interest from the audience. So the first talk, I'll just give you the topics just to give you an idea. So Professor Vincenza Calvaruso spoke about improving patient experience and challenges initiatives from the AISF perspective.
AISF, what does that mean?
AISF is the Italian Association for the Study of Liver, and so it really should be IASF.
Well, no, actually,
AISF.
Given the way you just opened this conversation in Italian, it would be Associazione Italiana for just whatever.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
So that was a great question on your part, and I don't know why it was backwards, but now I understand why.
Hint to the audience, Mike comes from Canada, but he's not really much of a Francophone either, because my guess is the French would have reversed it also. Go ahead.
I was horrible in learning French in school, actually, but every year they brought me to the next year anyway. Roberto Perez Gallo talked about strengthening community-based HCV services and people-centered harm reduction. So that was like HCV-based and some of the challenges that they've had. then George Constantinou. That was really interesting for me because I didn't really know a lot about thalassemia. His talk was about essential integration of liver disease in the multidisciplinary care of patients with, and I had trouble saying it live too, but hemoglobinopathies. Yeah, that was pretty good.
I'm impressed.
Milan, my friend from ELPA, the director of ELPA, talked about patient experiences in using health services and the availability of health services. Josie Williams talked about unmet patient needs and what needs to change in the doctor's office. And following that was the perfect match for that particular discussion point was Dr. Thomas Margett, and he spoke about challenges and opportunities for meeting patient needs in the doctor's office. So it was a good selection of topics. Usually you ask me what was my key takeaway, so I'll just jump to that.
Yeah, good.
For me, I was struck by the challenges that patients are having around the world, really, about getting the time and the concern. Gently, I say concern because I know doctors care, but they're very busy most often. And so getting the time from the doctors to really take an interest in that particular patient's story, because every patient is different. And there was a feeling that was shared by a number of the speakers that if they had more time to spend with the doctors, they could explain more and get more tailored care.
Interesting.
So I did think that was quite interesting as well.
But first of all, I'm sure that's right. I mean, when you say that there was a belief among the speakers, I just think that intuitively makes all the sense in the world. You know, they talk about the art of healing, and a lot of it's based on what you hear and what you touch. So if you're not touching anymore and you're not listening anymore because you don't have the time to listen and you don't have to touch because you got all these devices and tools and care enablers, all that goes out the window, right?
Well, Josie told me a story that she went in front of a doctor once, and the doctor was typing and typing and typing while she was talking. And the doctor said, "Go on, I'm listening." And she said, "But you're not hearing what I'm saying." So
Bang.
you could be listening, but not actually hearing. And so I thought that was pretty powerful.
Yeah, bang. That's right. That's right.
We also talked a lot about stigma, which is a common discussion point in the patient advocacy world in so many areas, with the obesity and liver disease as two discussion points too. And I asked the question of the panel, well, what can we do to empower patients to have the confidence to actually say, if it happens in front of their physician, to say to the doctor, you know, what you just said to me made me feel stigmatized or hurt my feelings or whatever they want to say. And the panel agreed that it would be good. And Thomas, the physician, said that he totally agreed. And he would learn more by a patient saying that to them once, the shock of it, than an entire weekend on stigma at a symposium.
That makes a ton of sense for a variety of reasons. I think of conversations with our good friend Tony Vigliotti about his primary care doctor never took fatty liver for granted once again after Tony's transplant.
Yeah.
Because he knew.
It's just about understanding that we're all patients, and if we're not patients, hopefully we're never a patient, but we're going to be a patient with something, or our family will be. And so just recognize that we want to be treated the way that we should be treating other people, right?
Well, I think that's part of it. And the rest of it is experiential learning and empathy, right? I mean, they don't teach empathy in med school.
Yeah.
But, you know, to the degree that you're going to be empathic, you're going to be empathic because you're going to respond to what you live through.
Agreed.
That sounds like a fantastic session.
So I really enjoyed that. And Shira said I did a great job, which is good because it was my first one that I've done at EASL. So I said, put me down for next year. I'm in. So hopefully they invite me back.
I'm sure they will, Mike. So beyond that session, what else have you seen today that you think this audience would like to hear about?
There was a really good, I went to a couple industry sessions so far. Don't forget the meeting really just started. There was a couple
Right.
industry...
The meeting hasn't really started, right? The opening session was today, but the first general session is tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning is when they really kick off content and abstract sessions and general session and all that stuff.
The EASL opening, Alexander Krog and a few other people, I thought it was very passionately shared about the future of liver health, really, throughout Europe and really globally as well. And Jeff Lazarus also had a chance to speak, and so I just thought that was a really good opening. So I enjoyed that component of it. I started to mention before, there was a couple industry ones I went to. MSD had a talk, Arun Sanyal and Elisabetta Buginasi, I hope I pronounced it,
Buginesi.
Yeah, at Yorn.
Yeah, and Yorn,
and Frank, right? I think it's pronounced Taka from Germany.
Frank Taka.
I said, nice to meet you. And he said, I'm Frank Taka from Germany.
Right.
So that was nice. And so they went through, the title was F is for fibrosis, spelling out the issues in advanced MASH. They asked us not to take photos or share anything, so I couldn't do that, but I did at least take pictures of the speakers and share those. But that was enjoyable. And you'll be pleased to know that Louise Campbell spoke at, there was an EchoSense industry talk, and she presented. I posted that, I shared that as well, and it was really nice to see. She came to see me, and then I went to see her, so that worked out. That worked out nice this morning.
Very nice. Yeah, we'll be catching up with Louise probably tomorrow. Mike sent me pictures of him with Jorn, and then Louise speaking as a way of telling me they missed me. I probably miss you more, but
that's so nice. And Jorn actually asked me, "You think it's okay to send the pictures, or is that going to make him feel worse that he missed it?" And I said, "No, let's send him the pictures. Tell him he missed it."
Yeah, well, no, that was great. So, anything else in this brief little interlude you want people to know about your day or about this meeting?
I would just say the same thing that we talk about after every conference like this. The networking opportunities is incredible. I've already had like 4 individual meetings with different people and organizations that would like to collaborate, and that's what EASL is supposed to be about. It's about developing relationships and collaborating so that we can share more and make a bigger impact in patient care. That's how I see it.
Now you're frustrating me, but that's right. I totally agree.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm just teasing. Just teasing.
We didn't get to have our cappuccino together.
No, we didn't get to have our cappuccino together, and I probably am sitting here with 35 invitations to talk to people while I'm there that I'm not going to get to see. So I'm trying to set those up for the rest of the month.
You know what? It wasn't that windy here, so you would have had a better hair day than last time.
For those who do not know that story, Mike and I shot a video last year outside of the meeting hall in Vienna where it was so windy that the hair that I do have kept getting blown in ways that exposed all the hair that I don't have. And it was one of the worst hair days I've ever had in my life, and certainly the worst hair day I've ever had on video. But good to share it with a friend.
That was the best laugh I had. I'm still laughing about it. At your expense, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. So, Mike, I do have one more question for you.
Yeah.
Today, of all days, Lilly released their phase 2 tirzepatide results that showed a significant, what looks like, although very, very different placebo levels. Basically, in the tirzepatide phase 2, and I've only seen the headline on this, there was about a 50% one-level reduction in fibrosis versus 25 in the placebo group, which would make it more efficacious in reducing fibrosis than resmetirom. I'm wondering if you've heard anything from anybody about it.
No, not yet. I would have expected something like that maybe at the late breaker on the last day.
Well, they released it outside the context of the meeting. I know what the late breakers are, and the late breakers are embargoed until an hour before the presentation.
Right. So, no, I haven't seen anything, and I've been literally running from one session to another.
Okay.
So if I see something, I will say something.
Well, actually, it's more like if you hear something. I'm wondering if it's something anybody's going to be talking about.
Okay. I love spending time with you and your audience, and thank you for always asking.
And thanks for spending the time, and we'll catch a piece of virtual high-quality pizza when you're in Toronto and I'm wherever. Okay? Take care, friend. See you soon. Bye-bye now.
And now, back to Roger.
We hope you've enjoyed this recording. If you have any questions or comments about the content of this conversation or the entire episode, please put them in the review section of the page from which you downloaded this conversation, or send an email to questions@surfingmash.com. Until then, stay safe, surf on. We'll see you on the podcast. Bye-bye now.